Hello and welcome to ETAuto. I'm Nabil A. Khan. Today we are going to talk about used car business or pre-owned car business. I remember in 2014 I wrote about used car versus new car. Then the ratio was 1:1, means an equal number of used and new car were being sold. A year later, I mean 2015, a new company came into being called Cars24. They were probably one of the first digital platform or the company that was doing C2B, means they were buying the car from consumers and selling to the dealers. That was a unique model adopted in India by Cars24. If you look at overall used car market, it is growing at a rapid pace, even as the original new car market is going down. If you look at the current annual sales for new car is about 2.5 million. However, 4.5 million almost used car are being sold. From 1:1, the ratio has come closer to 1:2 now. Very soon, it would be maximum 1:1.75 kind of ratio that we are into. And if you look at the estimation, it's about $24 billion market right now when we talk about used car. But the problem is that this is largely an unorganized sector wherein 80 to 85% of the players or the sales happens through unorganized sector. So to discuss further, how does the used car business look like? What are the factors that is going to drive this business? I have here with me Mr. Vikram Chopra, founder and CEO of Cars24. Thank you, Vikram, for joining ETAuto.
Thanks for having me.
Vikram, first thing first, how do you see this rush in your business now when the economy is down? Used car sales is becoming very difficult. From 3.3 million, it has come down to 2.5 million. On the contrary, we see, and that's obvious, people are moving towards used car. How do you read that? And do you think it will continue for longer?
I think there are significant tailwinds to the used car business. More and more consumers are looking to buy a car, and used cars are an affordable proposition as compared to a new car. So while new car sales is impacted, not because there is not demand, but because the production is impacted because of the lockdowns, right? Whereas
I beg to differ. Yes, production constant has come of late. But if you look at the 2020 and 2019 numbers also, it just started slowing down because of the various economic factors. Right. But whereas the indispensable income in the hands of people came down, that resulted into burst into the sales of used car.
No, absolutely. 2019 was a tough year. 2020 first quarter, there was a very solid recovery. Even before COVID, I think the new car numbers also were showing solid recovery. But you're right about 2019 being a tough year for new cars. But look, I think India has 20 cars per 1,000 people, right? So even other developing markets like Vietnam or Thailand, right? And I'm not even comparing to a US or Europe, right? Even they are at 100 to 200 cars per 1,000 people, right? So from the penetration level, we are amongst the least penetrated countries in the world with only 20 cars per 1,000 people.
Right? Now a bit more, but yes, that's the
right. And I believe that's largely driven by affordability, right? As economy grows, as purchasing power for consumers go, they will be able to afford more cars, right? And that's where we come in, because used cars on an average are significantly less expensive than new cars. The only proposition that's important to be offered to a consumer is high quality, right? That's where we come in, that we can help you sell your old car. We can help you buy a high quality second-hand car. It can fit into your budget, and that allows the used car market to grow further.
Vikram, if you were to tell me 2-3 factors that has really triggered the demand for used car in the last 2-3 years.
As you said at the beginning, right? The used to new car ratio has been evolving. right? And I think in any economy, if you look at globally, the used to new ratio is at least 3:1 or 4:1, right? So what it means is that as consumers get more sophisticated, they like to change their cars more often, right? As there are more variants available, more styles available. And that's exactly what has happened in Indian market in last 5 years, right? The economy has been growing. Lot many more OEMs have launched. Lot many new styles are available. Facelifts are coming every year. So Indian consumer is looking at more features, right? They're looking at the latest feature. Does the car have a CD drive, or the car has latest Bluetooth technology, right? So does it have Apple Play, for example? So as consumers are looking at more sophisticated features and newer variants, they are upgrading their cars more often, right? Which means that there is more supply of used cars. And then, of course, from a demand perspective, demand has always been there, right? The issue has always been the supply. As the supply has started to increase, as consumers sell their car more often, the demand has been there anyway for years to meet that increase in the availability of the cars. So I think that are the few reasons why used car of late has seen so much growth. And of course, because of this unfortunate event of COVID, now two big waves have happened, or one small, one large. I think the tailwinds are getting even stronger, with people looking to own a car as soon as they can.
Plus they have a limited budget also. So you rightly pointed out, like in search of better features, new advanced features, the first time owners are trying to sell off their cars. Can you give us an average sense, what is the life cycle of a first owner car? Like if somebody buys a car, for how long they're keeping it? Has it been reducing drastically, and what is the status right now?
No, absolutely. That number is now more like on an average 4 years. But
Okay.
there are enough consumers who are even selling their car at a 2 year period or a 3 year period. So in bigger cities like Gurgaon or Delhi or Mumbai, that that period is even lower than 4 years. On an average for the entire country, it is around 4 years.
So, do you think a good share of the buyers in the last 2 years, or since 2019, when we saw the economy on a slide, do you think people who wanted to buy probably a car, they wanted to be first owner, are they choosing to be a first owner of used car, or they are trying to jump a segment by taking used car? How these metrics are working?
I think what we see is that almost 50% of car buyers are first time buyers. So they are essentially starting their journey as a car owner for the first time by buying a used car. So clearly, there is an
What is the
affordability.
price band they are looking at? What is the segment?
So it starts at 2 lakhs. On an average, it's around the used car purchases on our platform. The consumers who are buying that, it's around 6 lakh rupees. But it starts at 2 to 2.5 lakh rupees. And of course, it goes up to 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs as well.
What is the segmentation based on the price band? What percentage of the buyers are falling into 2 to 3 lakh? What percentage 3 to 5 lakh? If you could give me the segment.
I think it would be 10% roughly, 10% in 2 to 3 lakhs. Then 3 to 4 lakhs would be 15%. 4 to 5 would be another 20%, and so on.
Okay, so the higher segment is more in number, you are saying, right? The demand for 5-6 lakh car is more.
I wouldn't look at it that way, because the same car in the new car segment, like the starting point for even premium hatchbacks is around 6-7 lakhs, right? So it's still significantly cheaper than that for a consumer.
So what this indicates is that people, if I say it rightly, people are trying to jump this segment. Initially, if they go into a new car, they will probably end up buying a hatchback or something, but at the similar price, they can get a sedan or an SUV.
Absolutely. There are consumers who are looking to upgrade. There are consumers who can get the same car at a 30% discount or a 40% discount, right? And there are consumers who don't want to downgrade their budget. They want to keep the same budget, but they can buy a better car. Right? So nearly, again, 50% of the consumers are buying a better car at the same budget. The remaining are saving on their budget by buying a pre-owned vehicle at a 20-30% lower price than a new car.
So Vikram, if I comprehend what you are trying to say, that people are graduating to use car for a better segment, to get a segment jumps. And overall, we see there's a huge potential in the used car market going to be there in the next few years. Looking at that, what Cars24 is planning, how are you going to, tap this opportunity, and what kind of volume expectation do you have? Can you predict some number for this year?
See, when a buyer is looking to buy a pre-owned vehicle, I think there are two most important things on a consumer mind. One is, will I find the car that I'm looking for? And more often than not, it's very hard to find a car, right? Because you have a very specific requirement. I want this make, model, not driven more than 30,000 kilometers in this color, and not older than that, right? So there is a very specific requirement, which means that it's actually very hard to find the car that you're looking for, right? The second thing is that quality, right? That's a big worry for any consumer, that if I'm investing 4 lakh rupees, 5 lakh rupees, am I getting a car that is of high quality, right? And I think these are the two very important problems that we are solving at Cars24, right? So we have launched the first of its own kind product in India, which is buying a car online. Right? So, everybody has heard about going to a dealership, physically going and buying a car. At Cars24, we are offering a proposition to the consumer that you can come and buy a car online. Right? The online proposition, the way it works is, you come online, there are thousands of cars available to select from. Typically at a dealership, you will find 5 cars or 10 cars, right? We have thousands of cars to select from, over 10,000 to be precise. You select the car that you want, you book that car, and we bring that car to your home, right? And if you do not like the car, you have 7 days to return the car, right? So it's not that you have to make up your mind right then and there, right? You could test own that car. You can test drive it for 7 days and return it for any reason, right? You didn't like the audio system, for example, right? So that's how we are solving for these two most important problems for a consumer, that now they can actually find the car that they're looking for, because there are tens of thousands of options available. And the second is that the car literally comes to your home, right? You don't have to go anywhere. And these cars are coming with a 6-month warranty. You can return them after 7 days. So you have enough time to get confident about the quality of the car.
Vikram, I would also like to understand, it's been almost 5-6 years you're running the operations. How has your financials been? You have an investor, and so they must be asking for the financial prudence, also the profitability aspect, breaking even and all that. If you could share us the journey on that front.
Yeah, we have been growing at a fast clip, pretty much on an average more than 100% year on year. So, the
In what
business has
sense? In revenue?
revenues growth,
Oh.
right? So we have been growing revenues pretty much 100% year on year. Of course, COVID period is a blip, but even if you adjust for COVID period, right, our growth continues to be pretty strong. And we are still such a small player. We have 5% market share, right? So we are still very small. So the focus for us for several coming years is, again, continue to be gaining market share, both on the supply side when a seller is looking to sell their car, and on the demand side when a buyer is looking to buy a car.
What is your view or guidance on the company turning profit, and how much of profit you are looking at?
Yeah, I don't think we discussed those things, but what I could tell you is that
How long are we?
we are so small right now from a market share perspective, right? I think the large part of focus is gaining market share, because that's how you create a better consumer experience.
So
right?
are you planning to beef up your expansion? What kind of investment are you looking at? What will be your next round of expansion? You are already physically also present at several places now. Are you going to further expand those network? How are you going to do the next round of expansion, and what kind of market share are you looking at?
As I said, right, we just launched the buying online product, which is the first of its kind, right? We have all heard about buying a mobile phone online, about buying a TV online, buying t-shirts online. Now you could even buy a car online, right? So now consumers can come and choose from 10,000 cars, comes with 6 months warranty. We provide real-time financing, so you could actually also get financing on a second-hand car, which is very hard to get otherwise. So the idea is that over next few years, we are going to grow this very significantly, right? And we are investing a significant amount of capital in building these parts of the businesses.
Can you share what amount is that?
Till date, we have raised 400 million, right, across our lifetime, and all of that is going to be invested.
So how
Right,
much you have already invested, just to put it in other way?
we have been very capital efficient. We have invested so far in building a lot of this infrastructure. We have invested maybe 20% of the total capital, right? But there's, again, as I said, we are only 4% market share, right? So it's still long way to go.
So what's your aim for the next 3 years? How much of market share you can grab? Because we see largely it is still unorganized, so you have larger opportunity. Do you want to collaborate to bring those unorganized player on board by introducing your standards, or how are you going to expand it frequently?
No, exactly. So that's a great question. We are only 5% market share, so clearly there is a long way to go. We are now scaling the consumer part of it. Anybody can come and buy a car online. Today, we are selling cars which we own, but we are also working on opening this up for our partners, like other vendors, other dealers, to be able to sell the car through us as well. So yes, we will be working with a lot of partners. We will always have our own assortment as well.
We have seen the announcement of scrappage policy has come in, and the life cycle, especially for Delhi NCR, which is, you also said, that one of the biggest market. How has that impacted? Because the life cycle of petrol car was 15 years. For diesel, it came down to 10 years. So it had a clear impact on, used car business. Now, if you look at the central policy of scrappage policy that has come out, if we understand what has come out so far, it looks like the life cycle will be fairly increased. So how do you weigh these changes?
I think they are in turn good for the environment and good for the industry as well. Cars have a certain lifetime, and older cars, obviously, so much technology change has happened. Also from the market perspective, it's educating consumers about how long to hold on to a car. So consumers are also changing their car more frequently, right? The average holding time has been coming down anyway. And events like this give it a further boost.
Are you mulling some plan in the electric vehicle space where, battery cost is a very big contributor, and in used space that could be a bit of a question for people to buy an used electric vehicle? So do you see any market opportunity there?
See, I think the business we are in is a derivative from new cars, right? So as and when the new car market for electric vehicle develops, used vehicle market for electric vehicles will lag by 2 to 3 years. Right? So yes, from our perspective, the adoption that happens in new cars segment will then also percolate down into the used cars as well.
Thank you so much, Vikram, for joining in ETAuto. Thank you so much.
Thank you.